We laugh. We cry. We learn. But really, what doesn't kill you makes you better at managing clients and everyone. I'm Morgan Friedman, and this is Client Horror Stories.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest edition of Client Horror Stories. Very excited to have with me the one and only Lance Cayko. How are you doing, Lance?
Doing great. Got a fresh cup of coffee. Excited to be here today.
Question. Do you get jokes about your last name being Cayko as frequently as I get jokes about my name being Morgan Freeman? Oh, the actor? But you're not black.
But you're not black. One of my best friends, this is morbid. He goes, his name is Matt Perry. So when Matt Perry died, I'm not going to deny that maybe he wasn't a little relieved because his whole life was this Matt Perry thing, you know? And then my best friend and my business partner, his name is Al Gore, which is crazy. And then
No.
Yeah. And then my last name is Cayko. So I think I have like some reason God like put me and everybody with goofy last names that are just too coincidental with a bunch of other people. I get two reactions when we say the last name. First one is people think I'm lying. And that's actually when I get a little offended. I'm like, no, why would I lie about that? That's not me. So I get a little offended. That's actually when I get offended. But I get happy when people give a reaction, like you and I did before we started recording. It was real happy, fun. We were joking. So it's a perfect icebreaker, actually. I've always leaned into it. I'm trying to get my children to lean into it because people don't forget you with that last name.
But probably no one can spell it. Everyone wants to spell it with a P.
Oh, yeah. It's always Cayko. It's always Cayko. Cayko. There's only two people that have ever gotten it right, and they were both scammers from India. You know, where you get the call and you can tell it's like some kind of a scam, like, yeah, your credit card or whatever. And is Mr. Cayko there? I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. First of all, and then I actually talked to him for a bit. I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot you're a scammer. Go away.
So getting details about someone right that no one else gets right can even term someone as sophisticated as you if you're a scammer. That is a good lesson.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
With that lesson in mind, we're going to get many more lessons in the next 45 minutes or so. Lance, I'm excited. I have my coffee in hand, freshly brewed, and I'm excited to hear about your craziest client horror story.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild one, actually. I have a big dream one day that I'm going to write a book, and I'm going to talk about this kind of stuff. And there would be a chapter just dedicated to this one because I think it is one of the most mind-blowing ones. I was telling my wife last night, for example, she was telling me about these clients that she had, and it was a husband and wife, and they ended up pitting her against them. Like they pitted each other against them. And I was like, man, at some point you think we will have experienced all the anomalies that end up having like crazy clients that are just put you in weird, precarious positions. But here we are. So I think it was like about 10 years ago, even longer than that, maybe, there was this couple and they moved from the South and they moved to Colorado. Great couple, big, beautiful family. And they came into our office, and it was back when we were kind of we were still in the startup phase. So it was definitely like 13, 14 years ago. The more I think about it, and met the wife, met the husband, and she had these beautiful drawings for this house they wanted to build in the foothills in Boulder County. And they were so good that I went, are you an architect? And she goes, no, I'm an interior designer. And I go, well, I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm going to talk myself out of work here, but I would just take those drawings. Like, those work. Like, we don't really need us. Just hire an engineer and he'll finish the rest of the engineering part of it. And then we didn't hear from them for a while.
But I just want to add as a parenthesis to that comment, what you did with that comment is one of my favorite sales techniques, which is I always try to convince them not to hire me. Like, no, you actually don't need me to run an ad campaign. No, ChatGPT, everything. It's all great. And in fact, here's everything you should do. And that, what I found is that builds up so much trust and shows off your expertise that they either want to hire you or they try to do it themselves for 2 seconds and they get overwhelmed and then they come back to you.
Yeah, I do. Well, thank you. I haven't heard anybody appreciate that. And I think I'm just a kind of contrarian when it comes to most of everything. And I'm like, well, I'll just try that. And it's worked in the same kind of way. Yeah. So yeah, they chose the path of not hiring us and whatever. And that's fine. But 4 or 5 years later, I get a call or an email, whatever, from the husband. And he goes, hey, moved to Boulder and we want to do this house or whatever. And we had this house. We want to pop the top. We want to do a giant addition. Oh, cool. He wants to do modern. He's talking a big game and all of this. And so I go to the house and he greets me. And I knew that this was not the house, the location of the house with the wife that we talked about 4 or 5 years ago. So I was shocked when I opened the door because he goes, hey, this is nice to re-meet you. And this is my girlfriend. We'll call her Sarah. Not a real name. This is my girlfriend, Sarah. And I go, oh, I didn't ask too many questions or whatever. I was just like, all right, cool. Yeah, that sounds great. Or my fiance. It was actually fiance at that point.
Oh.
And I was like, all right, well,
okay.
Cool.
So someone got divorced.
Yep, someone got divorced. Yeah. I've been divorced. I've been divorced. Remarried. I get it. It's modern America. It is what it is. And we started doing the project. It was turning out amazing. It was just this beautiful, modern addition. Really cool views of the Flatirons and all the beautiful mountains and everything. And then about 2/3 of the way, 3/4 of the way through the process, all of a sudden, there was not the bills became delinquent. And basically we had been submitted the drawings to the city. And the only leverage I really have ever as an architect is is to not move the project forward with the client and or in this case the city and say we're not doing anything until you like catch up on your bills. Like that's the only real leverage I ever have. I don't want to go to court. That's silly. Right. It's like, let's just handle this as adults, like, and then I always try to work with people like, hey, we can do a credit card if you need to, I mean, we can make this happen, we can, but I need some skin in the game for that. So it was kind of like a yellow orange flag or whatever. And then we started getting some strange emails. And so there was no building permit yet. We had only submitted the drawings. They were in review. So I was holding the line of like, you got to pay before we address the comments to then maybe hopefully get you your building permit and all that. And it was just getting ghosted. Well, then one day, all of a sudden I get like this email from him and he goes, hey, do you think this lumber, I'm having problems because I ordered all this lumber and the steel, and he starts sending me pictures and I'm like, oh my gosh, you have ripped off the roof and you are starting to do the construction without a building permit. Wow. Then all of a sudden it was a real red flag. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Without a permit and without telling you because you were part of the process.
Oh yeah. Our liability, right? Like our stamps, our architecture and engineering stamps. Yeah. 100%. So that was the final straw for me to go, all right, well, I think I'm going to write an email to the city of Boulder. We're going to rescind ourselves formally from this project. We're done with this. And
but question, rescinding yourself formally is like huge escalation. Were you clear to him, like clear with him? Hey, this is breaking regulations. Like we need to fix this ASAP. Or did he just be like, F you, I'm going to the city?
Great question. Yeah, it was me emailing him back and saying something to the tune of being copacetic and empathetic a little bit and going, look, I know, let's call him Chris. I know that it's painful to get a building permit in Boulder. I understand it's onerous. I understand it costs a lot of money. You're wasting time. So I'm copacetic to sometimes people doing what they got to do, to the point where then you get the permit and then all of a sudden it's 2 days later after your permit and you go, hey, by the way, can you guys inspect all the framing and the plumbing and the electrical? And then hopefully the city or the county or whatever the jurisdiction goes, doesn't blink an eye. They go, so well, somehow they got it done in 2 days. Somehow they got it done in 2 days, you know? Scouts honor. I understand that.
But parentheses reminds me of a classic Mark Twain joke, which is, when I was 18, I couldn't believe how little my parents knew. And when I was 21, I couldn't believe how much my parents had learned in 3 years.
Oh yeah, right? Yeah. So my answer is, I explained that. I said that in an email, more or less. You know, I go, look, man, I understand, but at the same time, like, you got to stop. You need to stop, okay? Or we're going to stop. And then I slept on it and decided, no, it's time. Like, this is it. Like, I don't want to. We just can't have our name sullied in the city of Boulder, where we do so much work, and you have to have a good reputation. Otherwise, your plans just get pushed to the bottom. So what I did is I wrote a formal letter and then blind copied him on the email to the city, so he could just read it verbatim. Like, we are rescinding ourselves. We're not doing this anymore, or whatever. I ended up getting another email a month later from a competitor of ours. They're asking for the drawings. And I go, what? And so I'm like, oh yeah, well, we got hired by Chris to pick up, he fired you guys. I'm like, no. That's not the way it worked. Like, I fired that guy. This is not at all. It just kept getting fishier and fishier and fishier. So finally, the project goes through and it finishes. But I just couldn't let it go. Like, I couldn't let trying to understand what was happening going, because his girlfriend started texting and calling me separately, and you could tell she was really distraught. And so I finally went and I go, can we just have coffee so I can understand what's going? Because she didn't know what was holding up the project. She didn't understand that he was withholding payments. She had no idea about that it was happening. She just allowed him to it wasn't even his property. It was her property. He was just selling her this dream and idea to do it. Didn't know that we wrote the email to the city of Boulder. So I showed her all of that stuff in writing. And then I go, can we just go have coffee so I can understand what's going on? Like, I am not a bad guy. I assure you. I want to help you. I want to solve your problem and all of that. So I get her to come have coffee with me. And she starts explaining that where everything's went wrong, and that she didn't understand that he was doing everything, not by the book, illegally, and all this other stuff. And that he basically ended up draining her bank accounts and left her with a completely unfinished roof torn off house. Yeah. It was mind-blowing to me that this was happening. And I go, and then she started digging in a little bit deeper, and she goes, well, did you know he's married too? And I'm like, well, I go, hey, Sarah, well, that I got to tell you, like, when I went and re-met him at your house with you, I didn't ask any questions, because it's none of my business. In a way, am I supposed to really pry into this and all of that? And I go, yeah, Sarah, I've met the wife. And then I told her the story I started this podcast with about you. Like, when they both came in and she showed me the drawings, and she was an interior designer and all of this other stuff. And you could just, it was like a movie, where you just see the look on people's, I can't even describe. It was almost like she saw like an alien or a ghost or something, where she was just mortified that she had been lied to.
Sweet. So let me make sure I understand it. He was married to someone else, the original interior designer.
Yeah.
Then with his girlfriend, where he was renovating the house, or convincing her to spend her money to renovate the house. But the girlfriend knew that he was married, but went along with it.
She didn't know. She didn't know until everything fell apart.
When it fell,
when
it fell apart. It all,
because she started to the point where she was getting notices from the city of Boulder, because that's really what turned it on for her. She was getting notices from the city of Boulder, like, you're building illegally, stop. And they were getting red tape, like a stop order put on the property. And so she'd reached out. That's why she reached out to me in a panic. Like, what is going on? Like, what do you, all this? And then she just kind of went to, sort of an autistic level of investigation, and went and looked him up, called the dad of the boyfriend, and fiance, whatever, and just really dug into like who this guy is. She just did. She goes, and this was a God-fearing Christian woman too, and it was important. This is important detail because she goes, he would even do Bible study with me, and I was like, oh my God, what a charlatan! Like, what are you doing with your life? And the towns, by the way, of where the wife he was still married to and this girlfriend, now fiance, are like 15 miles apart. I mean, real close to each other, right?
Wait, I just realized I'm a little bit slow. Married and engaged, so there's also like a bigamy angle here.
Yeah. So we're both, her and I, kind of just both going, oh my goodness, like this is intense. So he ended up leaving the state because she's like, I'm gonna press charges. I go, yeah, I think you need to. Like, I don't even know what that is. So it's like fraud or whatever. All of this needs to happen. Like, you got to really protect yourself. And so she ended up pressing charges, and he ran with his tail between his legs back to Texas, and now lived with like his dad or something like this. And the other architecture firm kept moving forward with Sarah, and they eventually got it done. And she didn't go bankrupt. I don't know any of that details, but I know I've driven by the house several times since it was completed, and it looks great. It has the roof, got the pop top, looks awesome. And then a couple months went by after it was finally completed, whenever that was. And on my Facebook feed, it's like, not to put a total tinfoil hat on, but it's like, because when you talk about things around your phone, they have that. Yeah. And I was like, sure enough, on my Facebook feed one day, it pops up. This is, again, after the house had been, she figured it all out, got out of the mess with Boulder County, filed the lawsuits and all of this, and finally popped up, and it was like, there's his mugshot, and the paper made a big deal. Oh yeah, it was a mugshot, and I was like, holy, swear word, like, I can't. Oh my gosh, this is like, it just came back into focus. And I can't remember all the charges, but it was a big deal. It was like hundreds and thousands of dollars of fines, like deferred prison time and all kinds of stuff. But his, the typical standard.
Was it the mugshot being arrested for this, or did he like do something else sketchy?
It was for this and other stuff. And because once the can was opened, everybody came after this guy. He had just been swindling people. What I found out is he'd been swindling people from day one when they moved to Colorado from the South. So all the way back to when we first met them in our office a long, long time ago, over a decade ago. And he's just a, pathological liar, I guess, in the end. I tried to like teach my sons using his example, like, don't do this, guys. Like, the truth always comes out. And guy's life is ruined, and now his two wives' lives are like ruined temporarily. This is like, look how many people this affected, everybody.
He's ruined other people, which is worse than just ruining yourself.
Yeah. So once I saw the mugshot, I was like, well, I can't shut off my spicy brain. I think I'm going to contact the first wife. I couldn't do it, dude. That's just how I am.
Why not?
I mean, why not?
Let's just have fun.
Yeah. Why not? Why not? Because I wanted to know. I just had to know. Like, did she know? I don't know. So reached out to her on Instagram. She's an artist. She's an artist too. And so she has this beautiful profile and all of her work on there. And I could find her again. And go, hey, I don't know if you remember me. Basically told her the story I just told you. Would you mind, like, are you open to having coffee? I go, part of it is I'm just trying to understand, what happened, but also my son is an artist. Like, you can see the art behind me here.
Yes,
on the show. Thank you. And I wanted some advice from her, honestly, see if he could apprentice with her. So went and had coffee with her, and it was this same story, but in reverse, right? Because it was from her perspective. And same thing. She was like, we had no idea he was living a double life. Because he would like come and it was like the classic story that you hear every once in a while where it's like, oh yeah, he's living at both houses somehow. He's got 2 lives and 2 wives and all this.
It's kind of incredible to me that some people can pull that off.
It seems exhausting, doesn't it? Like, one wife is so much work. I don't know.
So here,
one.
By the way, because I'm in a wacky mood, I'm going to share a mini anecdote, a few sentences that remind you. Just thinking about like, how could someone actually pull so good? Like, I would never be able to pull it off for like 8 different reasons. But it reminds me of something. I have a couple of friends who are tech superstars, names you might even know, and one of them long ago, all just starting up kids. This is a story from 25 years ago. His stories never added up. Where it's like, oh, he was making this much money, but then this and then this. There's always something weird. And then another tech superstar friend in the same group once made the observation to me that it's like, I figured out how this other guy, what this other guy's story is, why his stories never make any sense. I'm like, oh, what it is? I realized every single number that he uses, like how much money his companies are making, he always doubles or halves the number appropriately to make himself look better. And then my friend and I realized it's kind of genius because one of the challenges of being a liar is over time you can't keep your story straight.
Yeah.
Like, but if you come up with this rule, like, you know what the truth is, and you double or half it, guess what? You can lie, and it helps you keep your story straight. So these people that live double life probably have a whole series of rules like this in order to figure out how to lie effectively.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. It sounds exhausting to me to just go through it. But people are wild. I mean, I don't know. So it never ceases to amaze me. Like, and what was the lesson? I don't even know if there was a lesson. I think it's just an experience. I'm not actually sure there's a lesson to it. Because I look for lessons in everything. So I don't know.
We still have some time left in this podcast, and we can challenge ourselves. I think we can come up with a couple of different lessons. Let me think while I take a swig of my coffee, and then I'll have the first lesson.
Okay, great.
This kind of reminds me of a saying my grandma used to have, is in Yiddish, but the English version of the saying is, Jews can't eat pork. It's context for the phrase. So there's this Yiddish saying, if you're going to eat pork, eat the best kind. And what I like about that is like what it basically means is like, don't break the law. It's illegal. It's bad. It's immoral. You'll go to jail. But if you're going to break the law, don't break the law for like to steal $1. Break the law for millions of dollars. And yeah, I love it. If you're going to eat pork, eat the best kind. And there feels like something where like I always hear these cheating stories where it's things like, no, the husband was on a trip with friends and he got drunk and whatever happened. And it's like, if you're going to cheat and ruin your marriage and destroy your life, obviously don't cheat and destroy your life and ruin your marriage. It's terrible. But if you're going to, doing it just like because you're out in drunken bar one day is like just stupid. No. If you're going to do it, be this guy. Like, live the full double life. It's exciting and fun and crazy. And how do you figure it out? Dude, this guy is eating pork.
Well, you know what? It's so funny. So, I don't know if you know who Brian Johnson is. He's kind of like all right, well, he's an internet guy. I don't know. He's one of these tech bros, but now he's trying to live forever. BRY.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah. Now you know. Okay. He posted just last night. This was hilarious. Friends, stop drinking alcohol. not cut back, eliminate alcohol. And then he gives all the problems with alcohol. Yeah. One drink does that, he says. Somebody pipes up in the comments. I thought this is totally exactly the same thing. Well, what about 20 drinks? And then he goes, that's something I can get on board with. If you're going to do something, get after it. There you go. That's the lesson. I mean, hey, just go for it. If you're going to do it, don't have the whole ass it. I say whole ass everything, not half.
Yeah, which actually, I think we're like laughing and joking about it, but I actually think there is deep wisdom there. I often think that a huge portion of the world's problems comes from people doing things mediocre or half-assed. That if everyone who said I'm going to do this thing, and you just like really think it through, take it to the end. If you think through the consequences, dude, people just thinking through the consequences of what they do before they do it goes a long way towards avoiding a lot of problems. And it's incredible to me how hard this is for most people. I just know 99% of people I know half-ass it through life. And because you can get through life half-assing, you get just enough money, just enough time, just enough this, but you can't truly achieve anything unless you full-ass it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's what and that, you know what? My friend, one of my best friends, his name is Bill.
Al Gore?
Yeah. I got a couple because I'm whole assing it with all the besties. Yeah.
Sorry, your other bestie, Matt Perry.
Matt Perry. Yeah. That was Bill's phrase. So he came out, and when we were doing our first real estate development, and I was wearing all three hats, developer, architect, builder, just working crazy. He finally looked at me and he goes, you know what, Lance, you just whole ass everything, don't you? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I whole ass everything. Like, there's no half assing. Like, why life is so short. So I don't know. Yeah. But the poor kids that got caught in the crosshairs and the wife and all of that. It was like shock. And the guy's a good looking guy. Both women were really good looking women. I get it. He just had a proclivity to live on that edge, man. And he must have, he just makes it cortisol. He just needed the cortisol spikes or something.
Okay. So we got one great lesson from it. I think we can challenge ourselves and come up with more lessons from it. Here is an interesting angle on it. The Bible reading fiance, how did she not realize the signs? So I think there's and what was going through her mind, and like not just that, to have someone your fiance do this reconstruction of your house without permits, like what is happening. And I think viewing it from her point of view, there's this super important lesson. This may not be the right phrase for what I'm thinking, but I'm going to try. Like the importance of experts, dude. If I've never done a house renovation, you know what is, you know the famous phrase, you don't know what you don't know. I've never done a house renovation, so I don't know what I don't know. Like I don't even know there might be permits in order to put in an elevator. Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is where paying a few $1,000s or whatever for some sort of expert guide, architect, whatever it is, goes so far towards helping disasters. So from this woman's point of view, she said, oh, if my fiance wants to embark on a renovation, like an architect would have said, just make sure you have papers A, B, C, D. Like a non-architect, but someone with, let's say, more professional or business building experience would have said, hey, just make sure you have clarity on who's paying for what and the final cost. And there's just a bunch of things like that people who've been around the block in business understand. But the housewife that's just spent her life reading the Bible, but not building businesses, let's say, would have just never realized or known. Does that lesson make sense to you?
It's resonating. Here's what I think it is like, okay, look, I hope everybody listening, including you and I, has been in love at least once. And I think there's so they can relate to like, there's just this blinder that happens when you get in deep in love or lust or whatever, one of those two. And I wonder if that's what it is, because this gal is a real estate professional. So
that makes it even funnier.
Oh,
of course, a real estate professional knows their permits.
yes. So it's like, he's got to be careful about that love blindness. I think that's what it was. You know,
love blindness, infatuation. That's a really good point. Sometimes you get so excited about something.
Yeah.
You say, we don't need to sign the papers. But
Yeah.
guess what? You always need to sign the papers.
You got to cross your T's, dot your I's. Yeah, exactly. No matter how much, here you go. So like even with your business partner, yeah, you got to have the breakup. You got to basically have the prenup to go into business, right? Like okay, yes, I love you. Yes, I trust you, business partner. But at the end of the day, like it could fall apart. You could get sick. Who knows? All kinds of crazy stuff. So you got to go through the actual, crossing the T's, dotting the I's sort of thing, and just don't get caught up. And it's like you're in a movie, but also you don't want to be in a movie, because that's what they ended up being in. I mean, it really was like a real life movie where I was just looking back at it and having coffee with these women and stuff like that, and I was going, oh my goodness, like how many other architects are going to be able to tell a story like this? I thought we were just supposed to draw stuff.
Yeah, it's sometimes I think that the whole world is basically a big movie, and each one of us is like the hero of our movie. So like you look at the movie playing out between these people, and you're like, dude, they're having this like crazy sex adventure double life sort of movie, and you're having I'm just building some buildings movie. But then other people look at it in very different ways. Oh no, I just have such a miserable life. I hate my job sweeping floors or whatever it is. Wow, I love drawing and building things and Legos. I always wanted to be an architect. And you're like living this exciting life from someone else's eyes. Yeah,
right. It's like comparison's the thief of joy. So,
yes.
You got to think about, I would try to have that lens too, where I'm like, well, I always just, even at the base, as like a guy that does pretty well now financially for himself, I'm like, yeah, but at the base, it's all about being thankful for like a good cooked meal like I had with my wife last night. I'm like, there you go. Like, that's really what, instead of comparing like, well, I bet that guy's having lobster tonight. It's like, yeah, but I'm having lamb and she made it and it's wonderful. And that's really where we're at. Like trying to be present is a little bit more. And so maybe that was also the problem too, is like, was there a lack of just mental presence and sort of were they both sort of having a metaphorical out of body experience where they were going like, oh yeah, everything's fine over here. I don't have to be present in this. I can like detach from the situation. And therefore, because they weren't more attached to it, they didn't see all the little subtle things that would have clued them into like, wait a minute. Like,
that's actually a good point. That basically you need to be present in order to notice the little details. And noticing the little details is so often the difference between success and failure. Oh, I like the lesson. I pride myself on noticing details and being good at that, but also sometimes I'm not present. Sometimes I'm in outer space as well. So this is a good reminder to make sure, that you're always present.
Yeah.
I have to wrap this up. I have two short, semi-related things that there's thoughts from the conversation that I thought would be fun to mention, which is I know absolutely nothing about building homes, permits, anything like that in the U.S. But in Argentina, I've built a couple of homes, and it's crazy. And you just might find it funny how like wildly different the system is in Argentina. That basically you can just buy off permits, and like or like there's some permits that the government just never checks, so you just file it and then you start doing your things. There are other ones where you just like very explicitly pay off the government. It's like so wild as compared to like the American everything is in white and legal universe.
Oh yeah, well, so I'm actually half Brazilian. I didn't know. I didn't know how it goes. Well, I didn't know who I'm 43. I didn't know who my real dad was until I was about about 33, 10 years ago. And my dad was I went down to, I've been to Brazil 3 times, I think, and he's been up here 5 or 6 times since we kind of reconnected and found each other. But one of the things I was trying to do right away is he was like, we got to get you should get dual citizenship. I'm like, yeah, I should why not? Like, I want dual citizenship. I want another passport. What if I got to leave or something? And
Brazil is great.
Brazil is great. Yeah. So one of the trips we went down there, I got to see all of the inner workings of how it works. And I was like, trying to get like off through the bridges and stuff, we'd get stopped. And I'd be like, well, what was that? Like, how come there's no just like credit card thing or whatever where you can pay like a formal toll? And he's like, oh no, that's not how it works. He's like, you have to pay to get past the guards and stuff like this. And I was like, so we did that all one day. This is him, not me doing illegal stuff, or actually just regular. And then we trounce around the jungle for one whole day and going around and trying to bribe government officials to give me a dual citizenship passport in Brazil. It's like, I don't know, it's just their culture. Like, it wasn't my decision. It didn't work. We didn't get it. But I was just fascinated by the whole experience. I was like, holy cow, it is really different over here. I mean, you talk about buy the book.
Yeah, I've lived in Argentina for a long time. My wife is Argentine, and I also lived in Sao Paulo for years as well. And very similar idiosyncrasies. One way I like to describe Argentine culture and how things happen to Americans is the following. I always tell people in Argentina, every problem is solved the same way. And it starts like this. I know a guy.
Yeah.
And like
that's what he said over and over again. Don't worry, I know a guy.
Yeah, no, that's like you want Argentine citizenship? I actually know the guy.
I know the guy. Yeah.
You want an Argentine not just with driver's license? I know that guy. And everyone knows a different guy, and this style has its advantages and its disadvantages. In Argentina, by law, when you build, you're required anyone in construction is required to be a member of the construction workers union, UOCRA, but the vast majority aren't. So what happens is every single construction site that uses UOCRA with like union workers, they put up huge flags that say like UOCRA presente, like UOCRA is here. And then any construction site that doesn't have that, the officials come around and start investigating it. Wait, are you using illegal workers? And what's happening? So there's this whole thing. Wait, do we put up a flag even though if we don't have this? We're only doing construction inside, not outside, so they won't notice. So we don't need to do that. It's all these crazy sorts of things that's still hard after all these years for my American brain to imagine.
Yeah.
My final fun comment, slight tangent, but I'm in a fun mood, is you mentioned the coincidence of this happening and then on your Facebook feed, like this guy coming off in jail. And like, I'm a math, logic, science guy, but just in the last couple of years, I've been like, so many weird things have been happening to me. I'm like, dude, how does the universe operate? And to me, it's not even that Facebook is listening. It's been happening to me so much where I think about things and it comes up on my feed. So, which is like creepy in that, like, how does technology work? How does the universe work? Like, are there sensors from the universe? I don't know. And this just happened to me last night, which is the following. I've been married 20 years. I've been with a girl that's now my wife for dating and married for a total of 20 years. But maybe 23, 24 years ago, I was dating this other girl, kind of in love with her. And I've not spoken to that ex-girlfriend in something like 23 years. Just yesterday, I don't know, two days ago, I was wondering, whatever became of this person? I haven't thought about her in 23 years. Like, how did her life turn out? All grown up. And then just yesterday on my Facebook feed, this person came up posting an announcement. She never posts or comes up saying, hey, many of my friends are single men between 35 and 55. and want to have a baby through through artificial insemination, and send me a message with like a picture of a sperm. And I was like, I know how her life turned out, but to me it was incredible that literally I was thinking about someone for the first time in 20 years, and then it just came up. The universe is a strange place.
It is the mental to digital reality now. I'm with you, because I swear it didn't used to be like that. It used to be you had to vocalize it or type it.
Yeah.
Because it would the cookies would pull from Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and all of that stuff. And now the thinking, and I'm like, oh man, okay, we're at a. Not to get too esoteric, but there's also people that think like, well, actually, we're just going to get more telepathic as we evolve. And I'm like, yeah, it could be true. I watched a lot of the Y files on YouTube to clue people in and where my spicy brain gets. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun.
With that, this has been such a fun conversation, a whole bunch of interesting random tangents, and it was great having you on. Thank you for sharing your stories, and everyone who stayed around to the end, I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. Until next time.